Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today we are thinking about who does she think she is? Oh, that is a thinker, and that is what we will be thinking about today with Luisa here, who's going to help us really think about this in a whole new way. So thank you so much, Luisa, for coming out to my show, sharing your time and your perspective with me. I'm truly honored. So when you hear those words, who does she think she is? What does that make you think about?
First, I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you today and in front of your listeners. So, thank you.
You're very welcome.
When people ask that question, it actually makes me smile um, because I know exactly who I am.
Mm,
I am a woman immigrant who did not speak any English when she came to America. Um, I am a refugee who really learned resilience before she could even speak the word.
mm.
Uh, a trauma survivor who turned pain into purpose. I am a physician. I'm an entrepreneur. Really a truth teller. Sometimes truth bites, but I refuse to play small. So I'm here to share with your fellow listeners that, you know, really when we ask ourselves that question, it's not about fitting in. It's about taking up space and living to what we want to live up to without apologies and, truth as it can be.
I love that because that brings empowerment back to who you are. That brings that brings your knowledge of that no matter what you do and no matter where you are, no matter who you are with, that your character has that integrity to just keep pushing forward and keep moving forward despite it all. And I love the fact that you were like, I'm a truth teller and sometimes it hurts, but it's okay. I am with you. You don't know how many times I popped people's bubbles because I provided the truth and they just decided no longer to like me or have me around just because I was that one that was gonna pop people's bubbles because the facade, the fantasy, the illusion, the lie that they choose to believe no longer matched up to reality of what it was. And I think that's a thing that a lot of people need to ask themselves is like, it does this really serve me? And I love the fact that you were an immigrant, a refugee. You came to this country with not knowing the language, not knowing anything, and you developed something out of it. And that's what people need to know is that you can be anything that you want to be, but it's your perspective. You know what I mean? So it's like for you, when did you realize that your perspective was going to push you forward?
Um, you know, um, when I came to the United States, when I came to America for years, I wrestled this with self-doubt.
Mm,
It was all some of it was self-infused, but a lot of it was society. Because society makes you always wonder. Are you too much? Am I too much?
mm-hmm.
So then one day I started realizing that, you know what? I am who I am. That is my greatest power. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you're doing right now. Yes, it
Mm-hmm.
is my greatest power. Okay. Like when they say, it's how you start up the day. You start up the day and you think, oh my God, I'm going to have such a rotten day. Or I'm just going to go and conquer the world. And you do the superwoman sign. Just like hands in the air and like, you know what, just come on, world. Let's go at it together.
Yes. I love that. I love that because people don't realize how much society can try to mold you into this mold of, oh, this is what you should look like, this is how you should act, like this is how you should be and move and act and do all these things. And it's like, but why can't I just be me? You know what I mean? And I realize it's like they want to diminish you. They want to not have your light shine so bright. You know what I mean? And when you are focused and when you are determined and you have that self-discipline to know that I'm going to do it no matter what anybody says, and no matter how many no's I get, I know there's going to be a yes. No matter how many doors I knock, I know there's one that's going to be open. And that determination, oh my goodness, I feel like it has to truly be developed because some people are not, they don't really understand that concept. So, how did you develop that mindset of, I'm not going to take no for an answer and I'm going to go after this?
I think it's a little bit of both, nurture and nature.
Mm.
We call it, we probably heard of this, nurture versus nature. Nature is genetics, nurture is how you have been brought up. And I think it's a blend of both. Since I grew up in communist Romania since I was a child. Um, I was raised by my mother. She was a single parent, and my grandparents. And I can tell you, she has never told me to the day, oh my God, you're so stupid. Why did you do that? Of course, I mean, I couldn't expect anything else from you than this. See what I mean? Because that is one of the reasons we only allow ourselves to reach because we already pre-programmed to do it, right? The
Mm-hmm.
second thing is I've always been very outgoing. I'm a, like I call myself a social butterfly, but I've been outgoing. I am very easy to work with, but more so, I do not take no for an answer, like you said. Um, here, in Romania, they say that if you cannot come through the door, you come through the window. But I made it further. And if you can't come through the window, you come through the keyhole,
I
which
love
you
it.
will come through. So you see, so it's always in the beginning, it was hard because again, as I was outgoing, and this is the person you see today is really the person I was growing up. I came to the United States 1 month shy of 19. But then I come here, right? I came here for 2 months visit. It came into it, it turned into a tragedy. I was forced to stay in America. But the fact that I did not have any family member besides my father here, and he was the source of all my pain and suffering and trauma. So, except for him, I had no one. I had no family. I had no relatives. I had no friends. I didn't speak the language. I didn't understand the system. How could you, right?
Yeah.
And so, when everything fell, I was like a scared animal. I was like, so I became shy. I became shy and very retracted from everyone except for my mom, who was still in Romania. And that was really my lifeline. And at one point, I started, I really wanted to speak the language. I mean, it's almost like, you know what? Do you want to integrate and become an American, or do you want to, pull yourself to on the side and be an outsider, like them versus me, or
Mhm.
you just go back whenever you would be able to go back at some point, right? So I said, you know what? No, I am here. I got this whole bag full of lemons, Mitzi. Okay, I did it. It did kind of sour. But you know what? I'm going to make a lemonade out of this thing. So I started
Mhm.
learning. So, for instance, what I used to be so good at, talk to people, interact, like even at 18, I would just deal and talk to people from the upper stellium of, communism in my hometown. I would be like, God, it's exactly what I would do. But God, I have to call. I have to make this phone call with my broken English, right? And I'm like, oh, it's just like, I really don't want to do this. It's like, okay, well, you have to do it because nobody else will. See what I
Mhm.
mean? So you push yourself into very uncomfortable situations. And you know what? I am not the only one. We all have this fear, that inner fear. It is like, even when you go to an interview, think about it. oh my God, I'm going to have to do this. And you do it.
Mhm.
But deep inside, you're scared. You're scared like a little
Yeah.
rabbit, right?
Mhm.
So we all are. I was there, but you have to learn to do this. Um, I read a couple of years ago that, the singer Pink,
Mhm.
she grew up extremely poor.
Mhm.
And her mother told her one day, says, you must do one uncomfortable thing every day in
Mhm.
order to build resilience.
Mm. I love that. Because it's true, when you're uncomfortable, you develop something that you didn't even know. You develop your character, you know what I mean? You develop your understanding, you develop context of the situation. So the more exposure to uncomfortable things, it helps you become adaptable. It helps you become a well-minded individual. And I love your determination. Oh, I love your determination because I wish more people can have that and see that. They already have it, but they just need to step into it. You know what I mean? Because we all have trauma in one way or another. We're all exposed to something that may be uncomfortable, unsettling, just unwanted. You know, nobody wants to go through an experience of death or an experience of natural disaster or an
Right.
experience of abandonment or sexual assault or any, you know what I mean? Anything. The line can go on and on. Let's be honest. That trauma list is forever ongoing. You know what I mean? So it's just about taking what you have, taking those bag of lemons, like you said, like you had lemon. What are you going to do with it? You know what I mean? How are you really going to make it purposeful? And you switched to flipped. You made it something where I'm going to do something with it. I'm going to learn the language. I'm going to interact with individuals. I'm going to figure out how to deal with this system that is completely foreign to me, that makes absolutely no sense. You know what I mean? And you are going to push forward. And I think that's what people need to ask themselves. Who do you really think you are? Who do you really think you need to become? And who do you think you should be for the person of that inner child inside of you that you needed? You know what I mean? Because you are the woman that you needed when you were younger, but you are also the woman that you never knew you could become as well. Because you, like you said, you grew up in an environment that was very diminished. The society, they were very repressive. You know what I mean? It was very limited of what you had access to. And now that you come into this new place, it's like anything is truly possible. And the only thing that's stopping me is myself at this point. You know what I mean? And people don't realize like we can truly hinder ourselves if we don't allow ourselves to switch our perspective, shift our head, move in a way that we have that empowerment again, so that we know that there's power in our choices, that nobody's over there dictating what we can and cannot do, because now you're the dictator. Now you have this free will. And I think that's a lot of things that people don't realize is they have this free will to make these choices. And I think it's amazing that you are still going out there. You know what I mean? It's amazing that you are still finding ways to enhance your life, to continue on learning. I mean, come on, you're not only just an immigrant, you are a human being. You know what I mean? You found ways to become a doctor. You found ways to become an entrepreneur. You found ways to be an author. You found ways to know that one piece of you is not going to defy you. And I wish more people can say that or can embody that. So I really want to know what really motivates you to keep going.
Um, One thing that we all are afraid of when we find these obstacles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, what if, right? Think
Yeah.
about it. That's killing our drive, right? What if? What if this won't happen? What if I'll be rejected? What if I? And you know what? I said, well, yes, it's true. It's a valid question. What if? But if you don't take the courage and
Mm,
jump, right? And
yeah.
jump into it and say, you know what? Okay, well, what's the worst that can happen? Come on, Mitzi,
Yeah.
what's the worst that can happen? They can say, no. Okay. So at least we know where we stand. To me, nothing is worse than I not knowing where I stand. I always tell people, just tell me yes or no. Just don't dilly dally with me, okay? Because
Yeah.
I am a big girl, I can take it. Then the thing is, that's what the only thing you want from them. And put timelines and say, you know what? Yes or no? Just tell me. Just let me know. I'm okay either way, but I need to know so I can move forward or I can move to my next step. So you see, that obstacle is becoming a stepping stone.
I love that.
Okay. Because and then the way I think about it is this: survival is about grit.
Mm.
right? Thriving, it's about purpose. We live our lives. We want our life. It's not made just for survival. We are
Mhm.
higher thinking beings. We're not
Mhm.
just here to eat, sleep, go to bathroom, procreate, and repeat. We are here for a purpose. So in order to achieve our own purpose, our own ideal, our own goals, we have to have the, the drive to not to survive, but to thrive. Am I here
Mhm.
to just survive from day to day? Or am I here to thrive, to really show people that I achieve my potential, that I am who I think I am, that you'll either take me as I am or you leave me. And I will, I am going to venture to say something, a story that always comes to mind. So I was a resident, in my, actually a medical student in my surgery rotation. It was my first rotation of my clinical medical student years. I wanted to be a surgeon like nothing else.
Mhm.
And I finished my general surgeon rotation, and the medical director at that time sat me down and says, and it gave me a glowing, you know, discussion in reference and assessment. And says, there's one thing I want to tell you, just as like a parting decision or a parting bullet. I said, okay. Says, the only thing I would change about you, you're a little bit too aggressive for a woman. Can you tell me what exactly would you do with that, Mitzi? Because I was like looking at him, I thank him, and I just laughed. I was like, wow, how would you like me to be, sir?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
Fit the mold? Like
Yeah.
the 3 box. I need to have a mold.
Yeah, no, I love that. I would have laughed too. I'm like, I'm sorry that you're so sensitive that you can't handle me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry that I don't fit your stature, but that's not my prerogative. If I'm a little bit aggressive, it's because I have to. If I'm a little bit, I have to stand my ground, then I have to. Because at the end of the day, you are in a field that men are dominated in, and you are in a field that you are trying to command your space, have people respect your space, place your boundaries, and that means being a little bit aggressive. You know what I mean? That means standing up, that means speaking out, that means voicing what's going on in your mind and in your perspective. And that's when people need to realize this statement is so real. Who does she think she is? Well, because I think I know who I am. You know what I mean?
Wait, no, think about also if a man would have sat in front of that person, in that medical director, and you would have been like, you're a go-getter. Good for you.
Yeah.
You go get it. But no, I'm a woman. I am a little too aggressive for you. Why don't you just step back in your little seat and wait until I call you again? So to me, that was, it's an insult as me as a woman, as an
Hmm.
immigrant. He was coming from another country, another continent himself, so it wasn't like he was, the classical Caucasian man. No, but the fact that that came that way, it was just really hurtful. And, you ask me, how do I make this transition to, I and refuse to stand in my place
Yeah.
because I define my own place
Yes.
because I know who I am and I know what I can bring to the table. And trust me, 20 years ago, I wasn't like this. I wasn't this assertive. I had to find myself. I had to be, it's almost like tending to a flower. You
Yeah.
gotta, or a plant, you gotta give it nutrition, sun, water, and more so protection. So you have to protect your environment, who you are, and really advocate for yourself.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. Oh, I love that because I love how you were so honest. You know what I mean? You're so honest with your experience, and it's so true because there's so many times where women are diminished by just being anything that a man does not can't even comprehend because they're used to women being a certain way, so docile, so timid, so fragile. But in reality, we're just like you, honey. We're just rough and tough and rumbling it up too. The only difference is that we don't always portray it because we gotta save your ego and save your whatever that's going on so that you can feel like a manly man. But in reality, it's like, no, I can be rough and tough. I can handle life. I can deal with the punches. I can do everything that I need to do to make sure that I'm well-rounded individual. And I think I love that's your story. That's what that's how you took out of it. And I agree. There was a point in my life where I wasn't this woman that I am today, and it took me time to develop this. And I think it just shows that whoever's listening and whoever's just trying to contemplate their place in this life, just know that you already know. Just know that it's already inside of you. It's just been repressed because how society and how people around you have told you what you should be. But in reality, you already know who you should be. You already know what you should be looking for, what you were driving for. That passion is in you. You just have to go for it and grab it from the horns and just let it know that you're in it. And I think that's the beauty of this conversation, is because we're giving that power back to individuals. We're giving that thought back to knowing that they already had it inside them, just to find that box and open it up and allow yourself to be everything that you need to be, because you're great. And if people don't see that greatness, then that's okay. That's one less person that you got to worry about. There's billions and trillions of people on this earth, and you're going to worry about one single person? One single person? No, don't worry about that person. Think of them like an ant. You're gonna step on an ant and then keep it walking, right? That's what
Yep.
you got to do with these people that don't understand you, that misinterpret you, that have these misconceptions of what exactly who you are. Allow them to have that misconceptions. Allow them to perceive you however in the manner that you need to be perceived. Why? Because at the end of the day, you know the truth, you know who you are, and you know your character, and that's all that matters, is you know your worth. Oh my goodness, Luisa, I am truly enjoying this conversation, and time is catching up to us. So, what can be some lasting words that you can leave us off with to keep on thinking?
Well, I am going to give you three questions, and a parting, a little parting advice. The questions that always bring with me at my podcasts and also in my book is, what do you think I learned from
Mm-hmm.
my journey? What drives me and what's in my rainbow? So I'll tell you what are my answers, and then you can find your own answers, right? So
Mm-hmm.
out of my life, what did I learn? I learned that the past cannot be undone. It
Mm-hmm.
is what it is. Okay. So if you really love yourself and you have a duty to yourself to be true to yourself, let it go. Let it roll. Yeah, I'm not saying forget about it. Just let it go. Put a device. Says, you know what? Today's the day. I'm moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot undo it. I will have to not go back and visit that, because what it does, it just keeps you shackled in.
Yeah.
Okay. The second is what drives me. Okay. It's my goal. It's my dream. To me was to become a doctor. Whatever your dream is, take it and run with it. And don't stop until you accomplish it. There is no too small or too lofty dream. You make your own decision if you want this dream to be your dream, and then go for it. That's all.
Yeah.
And third is what's in my rainbow. Is that my handicaps? Because we all have them. Okay. No one is perfect. If you hear someone that says I'm perfect, please run the other way. That's not true. Okay. No one is perfect. We can strive towards perfection, but we'll never be perfect. But the person up there is perfect. But other than that, really. So, what drives me? My handicaps, my imperfections, or my amazing capabilities. So I chose the latter. I am capable to do this. Now I just have to work hard and get what I want to get.
Hmm.
Regarding who do you think you are, just remember that your space that you want to be and feel comfortable in is not a luxury. It's your birthright.
I love that.
Okay. So if you feel small and if you feel like you want to shrink, you won't make the world around you more comfortable. It will only dim your own light, and you want to shine. Shine as bright as you want, as you care to do. Shine in what you believe in. And, even though if your voice shakes, so what? It shouldn't
Yeah.
be rehearsed, right?
Yeah.
because it's your true voice and feel the space. And you know what? Sometimes overfill it. Just overfill over it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because when you ask those three questions, not only do you have that moment to reflect on yourself, you have that opportunity to know who you are, you know what I mean, in a manner that you never thought about before. And then you realize the options. And it's kind of like you were talking about earlier about that what if. That what if is a very long spectrum. And on that spectrum, you can go on the negative side and drown yourself with all the things that you couldn't do or all the negative things that could happen. But then there's also that other side of that what if factor and that positive side of becoming a doctor, owning businesses, speaking up on events, becoming an author, having your name known to the world so that people can see you in a manner that your childlike self could would never even thought was possible. And it's like providing that peace of mind that I did it. You know what I mean? Like I finally did it. Like that is so amazing. You know what I mean? Because only we know what we've dreamt about. Only we know what we really desire to have. You know what I mean? What we really desire for our life to be something more. And that we will never get there if we continue to live on that side of the spectrum that is negative and drowns us from ever shining our light. Like you said, like why not step into that space? Why not own your space? And why not just be now don't be such a people pleaser because in reality you have to please yourself and it's like a double-edged sword. If you please somebody else, you're only hurting yourself. You know what I mean? If you cover
Exhausting.
and it's exhausting. It drains you out like, oh my goodness, it's
Yes.
not even worth it. So it's like we really have to take it into consideration for our well-being because we matter. And ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy this conversation as much as I did, go check out Luisa. Go check out her website. I have access to it in the description. If you're listening audio on YouTube or on my website, you can even find her photo. Click on it. Bloop goes straight to her website where it finds all of the great content that she has to offer the world, just so that you can continue on thinking and so that you don't have to feel alone. We are trying to remind people that there are other like-minded individuals that have the same goals and intentions, and sometimes you just have to expose yourself to that. Switch your community up, switch your mindset up, switch your words up, and start bringing life back to your life. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, always keep thinking, y'all. Bye.